Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another episode of Coronavirus, a Global Pandemic. Alhamdulillah, we at Iman Channel have been with you for a number of weeks, updating you guys with the latest updates. And we've been joined by a number of panelists who have constantly been giving us advice on a various amount of topics. Today, Alhamdulillah, we've been joined by three guests today. We have a sheikh all the way from America, and we have a police officer. But firstly, I would like to welcome our most popular guest, a certified chartered accountant who is the director of his own accountancy firm, Beg William Associates in South London. I'd like to welcome Tahir Beg. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Jazakallah. Thank you for inviting me once again. Jazakallah.
How could we know you are the most popular guest we have, alhamdulillah.
Oh, thank you.
So, just before the show began, you were mentioning that since you've last come, there have been a number of updates in terms of employees' contracts or those employees who have been furloughed. Could you provide some updates on this, please?
Yes, Umar. First of all, assalamu alaikum to all the viewers there. Thank you for the invite again. But we thought in the first two sessions we'll sort of finish with this corona business. But no, it's a continuous process, and there have been developments even a few weeks, not few weeks, few days back. And one of the development is that, for loan employees, the government was initially saying that they will pay up to the end of May for all the wages, 80% of the wages up to a maximum of 2,500. Now they have extended that deadline up to the 30th of June. So I think partly it reflects the seriousness of the problem. So that's one aspect that people need to look at. So that means instead of 3 months, they can be for long, for up to 4 months. And this is something, Umar, we need to talk about. What are people going to do over the 4 months? Of course, there's Ramadan. That's a good opportunity to reconnect with our deen. But then there are other opportunities as well. And we can talk about being self-employed, setting up your own sort of business, doing other activities. The other thing which they have said is that initially the deadline for people who were on PAYE was the 28th of February, and now they have extended that up to the 19th of March. So it gives people opportunity, perhaps who had joined, maybe in March, and now have been for long, they qualify for this as well. Okay. So these are some of the two major changes that recently have been gone. And lastly, the good news is, Umar, the HMRC system for claiming your wages that you have paid starts actually on Monday, which is tomorrow, the 20th of April. So employers who have furloughed their employees since 1st of March, when the rule came into place, will be able to claim from HMRC tomorrow. For that, they'll need a number of things, the PAYE reference, employee's name, which they should have on their payroll, their national insurance number, and of course they have to supply the company's registration number, company's name, and company's UK bank account, because the revenue will actually send the money directly into their bank account, and I'm told they should be having the money in their bank account very early, first week of May, okay. Inshallah.
I would just like to take this opportunity to remind the viewers at home, you are watching this live on Iman Channel, Huda TV and Iqra TV, and you are watching this live on social media. We have Tahir Beg with us for the next half an hour, inshallah, or perhaps to the end of the show. If you do wish to call in and ask your questions regarding taxation, as he is a taxation specialist, self-employment, or if you run a small business, our certified chartered accountant is here to take your calls to answer your questions. So just dial the number on the bottom of the screen, inshallah, and you can speak to Tahir Beg, inshallah. So now the application process for this. If someone hasn't applied for it already, can they still apply for example, the support if they're self-employed?
Yes, because Omar, the PAYE claim, actually the process opens tomorrow. So tomorrow is the first day. Don't ring the revenue. It's an online process. So you will be able to make the application, and the refunds will be coming, as I said, directly into.
Is this for employers or employees?
It's for the employers.
Employers.
The employer pays the employee the wages, a maximum of £2,500 plus employer's national insurance they can claim, plus the minimum amount which they're paying for the pension. The employer can claim that. That's the maximum. If he pays above that, or they pay above that, then the revenue will not reimburse them for that amount, up to a maximum of £2,500. That's what they will get. Or if the employer was earning less, for example, his or her wages were £1,000 a month, 80% of £1,000 is only £800, and that is what the revenue will reimburse you for.
So who would pay the remaining 20% then?
Well, the rule says you, for long your employees, you can pay them up to 80% of that. The other 20% you have to negotiate with your employee, because the reality, Omar, is that a lot of businesses have actually shut down. The cash flow is tight, so people have to be reasonable, come to some sort of an agreement that, look, it's better to get 80% of your salary, up to a maximum, as I said, of 2,500, rather than the company going bust. And I recall there was somebody who rang last week or the week before. He said he was working for the airport, and now he's being paid only 75% of his usual salary or wages. And I thought about it. I said, well, okay, it's better to get 75% rather to get nothing. And in that particular case, one of the conditions of being furlonged is that you should not be able to work. So if you are still working for your employer from your home, or you are able to work, then you are not furlonged. That doesn't apply. And in his particular case, I think it may be that the unions, where they call collective bargaining, the unions might have agreed with the authorities, and that's why they are being paid 75%. Yeah.
So, I believe we have a phone call.
Okay.
Let's just remind the viewers at home, inshallah, take this opportunity to call in. We have Tahir Beg with us. Call on the number. You can ask all your questions to the certified chartered accountant, inshallah. So let's take this next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Astaghfirullah. Yes, brother, what's your question?
Hello, yes. My name is Mohammed. I'm calling from London. I applied for grant for self-employed back in March. I want to know when are we going to expect the money, because I've got a family to feed and all that. Self-employment is nothing you can get. I mean, no loans, nothing. If you have, like if you're new started a business or something. I opened back in 2017. I want to know what's going on, how are they going to help the council and all that. Thank you.
Okay, just stay on the line, Brother Mohammed, in case we may ask you some questions.
Yes, so brother tells he's been self-employed and he's filed his accounts, and hopefully all his accounts are up to date. That means they take the average. HMRC actually takes the average of 3 years profits between 2016, 2017, 2017 and 18, and 2018 and 19. These 3 tax returns, they will average the profits and they will pay you a maximum of 2,500, and you divide that, and you'll get on average £1,000. So £3,000, and I think brother asked when will you get that, and that will be around about June. For self-employed people, they should have their money in June. And again, HMRC will actually contact you directly, because they will have all the figures. And if you have not submitted your returns for the year ended 5th of April 2019, you need to be doing that pretty sharply by the 23rd of this month. So you've got a few more days to go. Yeah.
Okay. Brother Mohammed, I hope that answered your question. Oh, we lost the caller. Okay, this is fine.
Umar, there was another bit which I think he might have alluded to. which was regarding, he said, some grant that he was expecting. And you know, this point we haven't touched too much. It's people who are running their own businesses, whether it's a shop or a restaurant, you know, small businesses, rateable value up to £15,000. So it's classified as a small business. They will be able to get a grant of £10,000, but that will be through the local council. The local council will contact you directly. They will ask certain details, you know, your name, trading name, business address, bank account, date of birth. I've just filled a form from one of my clients. And they will be sending the money directly to the person who's actually paying the rates for the shop or the offices into their bank account. And that is going to be £10,000 for rateable values up to 15,000. And if your rateable values are more than 15,000, between 15,000 and 51,000, then the amount of that grant is 25,000.
Okay, I believe we've got Brother Muhammad back on the line, so let's go back to Brother Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Muhammad.
Alaikum salam. Brother, my
yeah.
question was for the grant. Self-employed, because I didn't have enough profit. And it's for grant which you apply from the councils, which the government's helping. And that's what the question was. What's going to happen to the grant? When are they going to be? Because we were told I can't get self-employment because I had 1 year, 2 years profit and 1 year's loss. That's what I was told. So, and 0% business rate, business rate, you're 0%. So they were saying you can still apply for a grant. So I applied for a grant. I wanted to know what's going on with that.
Okay, brother. I think the number of things. He said for 2 years when he was self-employed, or he's still self-employed, for 2 years there was a profit and for 1 year is a loss. Brother Muhammad, first of all, they will average out the profit or the loss for 3 years. So if over the 3 years you have averaged a profit, then you are entitled to that income for the self-employed. And your other question is about the grant, and we were talking about it. What you are saying is, if you've got a business, you own a shop or you've got offices, and the rateable, and it's a small business, the rateable value is under £15,000, then you are entitled to a rates grant. A small business rates grant is called. Small business rates grant. That the application will be from your local authority. They will send you the forms, or they will contact you by email. You'll have to fill in the forms, send it to them, and they are the ones who will send you this grant directly into your business bank account. I hope, brother, that answers your question.
Yes, that's helped me out a lot because I've applied for the grant with my local authority back in March, and I'm still waiting for an answer yet. They've not given any answer. I was told they're going to send the answer end of April. So I was wondering.
You still got 10 days to go, Brother Muhammad, 10 days to go. As you will appreciate, there's been a lot of demand on this, but yes, they are going to process it, and you will be getting, if you qualify, then you would be getting the grant. There are a number of conditions to qualify. First of all, it's a small business. You need it is the ratepayer who will get the grant. It's not the landlord. It is the ratepayer who will get the grant. A small business, you need to be trading. You should be trading even now, and you will carry on trading. So you'll carry on trading in the tax year 2020, 2021 as well. So these are some of the conditions. So inshallah, if you filled in the forms and you qualify, then inshallah you will get your grant in due course. As I said, the grant could be £10,000 if the rateable value of the property is under 15,000, and it will be £25,000 if the rateable value is between 15,000 and 51,000. Okay, Jazakallah.
I hope that answers your question, Brother Muhammad.
No, it did. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair. We wish you all a day. We have another caller on the line. Just before we take the phone call, let's remind the viewers at home, if you wish to ask a certified chartered accountant any questions regarding taxation, small businesses, self-employment, or maybe if you're struggling with some finances, feel free to call in and ask Tahir Beg your questions. Let's take the next call. It's Brother Hussein. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Hussein. How are you? And what's your question?
Hello.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to ask you the question. I'm still on employment with my brother. So, how can I get the money from the government? My brother has to apply for from half of behalf of mine.
Okay, brother. Brother Hussein, if I understand your question correctly, what you are saying is your brother either is a sole trader or company and he employs you. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He's
So
employing
you
me.
are his employee. Has he furlonged you? That means has he asked you that he hasn't got work for you, so you should be staying home?
No, he said to just we will apply
Okay.
for you from the government.
Yes, well, effectively he's furlonged you because he's told you to stay at home. Maybe he's got no work or the shop is closed or the offices are closed. Yes,
Yeah.
it is your brother who will be making the application on your behalf. He will obviously have you on the payroll. And as long as you have been on the payroll before the 19th of March 2020, your name, your national insurance number, he will be able to claim 80% of your regular wages which he was paying you, up to a maximum of £2,500 for the month, plus the employer's national insurance. The money will come directly into the company's bank account, not into your account, into the company's bank account, and presumably your brother will be paying you the wages as per normal through the payroll system, and he will pay you up to 80% of that. If he wants to pay you more, he can do that, but he will not be reimbursed for anything he pays above the 80%. I hope, Brother Hussein, that answers your question.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair for your call, Brother Hussein. Again, I would like to remind the viewers at home, if you do have any questions for our certified chartered accountant, feel free to call in and ask your questions, inshallah. So, I believe you've brought some slides with yourself.
Well, yes, let's have a look through the slides, and let's look at slide number 1. We've never got through our slides through the program. These are some of the things that we have said to UK employers. The date here has changed. The date was 28th of February. It's now, as I said, 19th of March. It's a temporary scheme, right? It will end June. So, yeah, that's been updated. MashaAllah, Jazakallah. Previously, it was for 3 months. Now it is for 4 months. Yep. Start date 1st of March. As you said, 80% of the furlonged employees, usually monthly costs. Yep. So, why I say that is because if somebody has been sort of earning £1,000, that's his wages, but then he gets on and off some commission on that, those are not taken into account. It's what is regularly what they are earning. That's what it is. And the limit is £2,500 per employee a month plus NIC. So let's look at the slide after this as well.
Just before we go for the next slide, we have another call on the line.
Right,
Let's
okay.
take that call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your question?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm calling from Coventry.
And what's your question, brother?
My question is, taxi drivers, is that they can apply for the grant or no?
And how long have you been a taxi driver for?
Oh, about nearly 2 years. 2 years.
Yes, and this is as
He's self-employed, a taxi driver or a minicab driver. Am I right?
Taxi driver, yeah.
Okay. So, and that's been for the last 2 years or so. Yes, as long as you have submitted your accounts, even if it's only for 2 years now, normally the rule is average of 3 years, but if you have only been self-employed for the last 2 years, the revenue, HMRC, provided you have submitted your accounts, will look at the profits that you have made in your self-employment as a taxi driver, average it, which is divided by 24, and then multiply by 3. So to answer your question, are you entitled to? The answer is yes. If you have made profits, then you are entitled to receive that grant from HMRC. The applications are going to open soon. HMRC will contact you directly. Don't give them a call. Well, they've got enough on their hands. They will contact you directly because they have all got all your details. They got your tax numbers, you got your home address, they'll have your telephone number, national insurance number. So they will contact you, approach you directly, and whatever, once they have done the verifications, then they will send the rebate to you directly into your business bank account. I hope that answers your question, brother.
Yeah. It's okay. Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah.
I believe we have another caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum. I'd rather not give my name. I just
No.
wanted to ask the gentleman's accountant. I have two businesses under one premises. Do I qualify for two business grant or one?
Okay, just stay on the line in case Brother Dahir wants to clarify some questions, inshallah.
Thank you.
Okay, brother, what you are saying is you have got two businesses. Which is the business that is registered for the rates?
There is one business which is registered for a rate.
Well, that is the business that will get the grant.
Local authority is aware of the other business as well.
Sorry, the business that is registered for the rates, that is the business that will get the grant.
Right.
That's
so,
what the rules
it
say.
means that I'm only entitled to one grant.
Yes,
Even
if
though
you
I
are
have
only
two
paying one
businesses
set of
in
business rates, then you would expect to get one set of grant. Yes.
Okay.
If you are having two businesses at two different locations, where the businesses were paying the business rates or they were registered for business rates, 2 or 3 or even more, then the answer is yes, all of them would qualify. But it is the business that is registered as the rate payer, that is the one that qualifies, and that's the one that gets the grant.
Thank you. Jazakallah.
You're welcome.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay.
We're about to go for a break, inshallah.
Okay.
So I would like to take this opportunity to remind the viewers at home, you are watching this live on Iman channel, Huda TV and Iqra TV, and you are watching this live on social media. If you wish to call in and ask Tahir Beg, who is a certified chartered accountant, who is also a director at his own firm at Beg Williamson and Co. in South London, feel free to give him a call. He's a specialist in taxation, self-employment and small businesses. So you can dial the number on the bottom of the screen, inshallah. There's also a WhatsApp number, so if you can dial that in as well. Our studio will take the call in and you can ask your questions, inshallah. After the break, we'll be joined by two more guests, a sheikh from America and a police officer. So we will see you after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. I am your brother Wasim Kempson. Please join me as we journey through the Quran, identifying particular ayat, verses and stories of the prophets with a view to improving our behavior. Please join me exclusively on Huda TV on Way to Behave.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to Coronavirus, a global pandemic. SubhanAllah, today it was announced that there has been over 16,000 total deaths in the UK, and this is not taking into account those in the care homes. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant the Muslimin who have passed away due to this shahada, inshaAllah, and Firdaus A'la, inshaAllah.
Amen.
So Just before the break, we had two callers waiting for us. So just before we take the two calls, I would like to remind the viewers at home, we have a certified chartered accountant with us. He is a specialist in taxation, self-employment, small businesses, and in general, obviously, finance is his. Call the number in on the bottom of the screen, inshallah, if you wish to ask your questions to Dahir Beg. Let's take our first caller. Assalamu alaikum, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your question?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. My name is Asaf. I'm from the Kensington.
And what's your question, brother?
My question is, I lost my job in last month. I was working in a restaurant, and they said you apply for the universal credit. I applied the universal credit, and now I am receiving universal credit, also job seeker allowance. But I want to know how who will be pay the my housing rent.
Okay, so
You know,
so
what
just
I earning
just
now is not enough, because before I earning more and I getting a housing benefit.
so just to clarify, you're working in a restaurant. Was this were you on the payroll, as in were you receiving PAYE slip?
Not payroll. I lost job because the restaurant is closed down.
Okay, when did the restaurant close down?
19th.
19th of March?
Yes.
Okay, and since then they said that you don't have no more work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I go for job center, and they said you have to apply for the universal credit by phone. I want universal credit. I apply by phone, and then they give me the form last week. I mean middle of the last week, and I am receiving universal credit, also job seeker allowance. But what I receiving now, it is not enough. And how can I pay my rent? Is it my council to pay the rent?
Okay. Okay. I believe we've understood your question, inshallah. So let's take our next call, inshallah, and in due course, Dahir Beg will answer your question, inshallah. Let's take the next call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your question?
Brother, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. I don't want to give my name. I just
That's fine,
want to
brother.
ask a question.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm a self-employed and Uber taxi driver. And I have filed my 2017-18 and at the self-employment tax return. And still today, up to today, I haven't submit my 18-19 self-employment tax return. So when is I had there is a deadline for the self-employment because of the coronavirus. They extended. So when is the deadline? I would like to know. And last year, 17-18 tax return, £10,000 profit I have declared, which is also 18-19. It's going to be similar amount. It's going to be so profit. How is going to they work out to pay me my at 80% or whatever they saying entitlement? Just like to know this.
I think, Umar, I've understood brother's question.
So just stay on the line, inshallah, in case Brother Tahir has further questions for yourself.
I believe he's only been self-employed for the last, he said, 2017-18. Brother, were you self-employed in 2016-17 or not? Okay, he might have gone. So if he's self-employed 2017-18...
I think he's back on the line.
Yes.
Brother, can I ask you one question? Were you self-employed in 2016-2017?
Yes.
Okay, so you have submitted 2016-17 tax return. You have submitted 2017 and 18 tax return. You haven't yet submitted 2018 and 19 tax return.
Yeah.
You better do it quickly, because the deadline on this is 23rd of April.
And I will not get fined for this year because £100.
So of course you will get fined. You know, fine is a different matter, because you should have submitted this at the end of January.
But because of the coronavirus, they extended.
No, coronavirus was not in January. You didn't use at that time. This concession was not there. It is now in the concessions which are coming in now going forward. So your fine will be there. You need to get your tax return in quickly. To answer your question, how much are you going to get? They will average your profits for the last 3 years divide that by 36 and multiply by 3. That's what you are going to get. So, you know.
Can I ask you one question? Sorry. One more question. £10,000 or £9,900 are declared profit.
Yeah.
And obviously, is that they will work out based on this? Or,
That's right. They will work out on what you call Schedule D Case 1 profits. These are the profits which we have declared over the years. They'll work out for the last 3 years, say it is 30,000, divide 30,000 by 36, that will give the average monthly profit, and then multiply that by 3. And that's what you will get.
Thank you very much for your help, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
And coming back to the question before that, who was working for a restaurant, the restaurant has closed down. Well, it is unfortunate. If the restaurant had not closed down and he had furlonged his workers, he could be getting 80% of it. Now is effectively been made redundant. He'll have to go to Social Security and be on the Social Security and claim what he's entitled to.
Well, I believe he was concerned about universal credit. He's gone there and he feels that the amount they're giving is not sufficient for him to cover his housing benefit and whatnot. But also from what I know now, since the universal credit system has come in place, all the benefits come under the one title, which is universal credit. So your housing benefit, your any additional benefits like child benefit or whatever, they all come under that title of universal credit, and they'll calculate that. And I believe if you log onto the website as well, once you've completed your forms and whatnot, the universal credit website actually breaks it down into categories, saying that you are entitled to X amount of housing benefit, you are entitled to X amount of job seekers allowance or whatever. So if you do need clarification, I would strongly recommend you go back to DWP, the Department of Working Pensions or the Job Centre, or call up Universal Credit directly. If you actually go onto the government's website, they've provided some guidelines in terms of what's the best time to call. So sometimes it can take a very, very long time to just get through, but please be patient and inshallah you should get through, and we ask Allah to make your affairs easy for you. We have another phone call. Let's take that phone.
Omar, can I just elaborate slightly on that? Universal credit, because there's been so much rush, it is going to be a long process and a long wait. And we're going to have another program, inshallah. I was telling you there's a hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The upper hand is better than the lower hand, which means the hand that gives is better than the hand that receives. And we want our community to be the people who are the givers, and we'll do inshallah another program on that to fall into that category, how to set up your business and be independent. Yes, so when you are independent, you make profit, then you'll pay zakat as well, and that's what we want to be. Inshallah.
So let's take the next caller. I'd just like to remind the viewers at home, call in on the phone line at the bottom of the screen to ask questions to our certified chartered accountant. Let's welcome our next caller. Assalamu alaikum. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your question?
Walaikum assalam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just have a question that I have a flat and I can't somehow manage to find a suitable tenant for that flat. Now the council tax people are sending me that they've doubled up the council tax, and they're saying that either you give it to us and they want to put anybody, sort of rubbish tenants who can spoil my flat and do any damages and all that. So I don't want to have that. And they are forcing me either you give it to us or you will have to pay double. And it's like I'm a pensioner and I can't afford that kind of money to pay them. So is there a way, to get out of this mess?
Okay, just stay on the line, sister, please, in case we have some questions for you, okay?
It's about council tax. That's what she's saying. She's got a flat which she can't find good tenants for, and if the flat is empty, the council wants to still charge her for the council tax. This is not the program for that, but I will answer that question. What is the reason behind it? The council actually doesn't want empty flats because there's an acute shortage of housing in the UK. So they would encourage all the landlords to try and let the flats. And one way of encouraging you to let the flat is that if it remains empty, then you will end up paying council tax, and there's a penalty for that. So that there's no solution. You'll have to find good tenants and let it, and that's the only way, because once the flat is let, then it becomes the tenant's responsibility to be paying the council tax and give you.
I believe also there are some letting agents who do like property management, where they actually look after the management of the tenants. They'll do all the checks. They'll even do all the renovations if required.
Yes.
But they obviously, the landlord will lose a bit of their fees, where they have to pay X amount of fees to the letting agent.
Umar, there's nothing in this world for free, you know. If somebody is going to let your property and manage the property, they are going to charge a fee for that, and that probably is your best way. So you have to find suitable tenants and let it, because don't forget, once you start letting the property, that is an additional source of rental income for you.
Okay, so we do have a number of callers, but before we take those calls, I would like to now welcome our next guest all the way from America, Sheikh Dr. Hassan Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, Sheikh?
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Alhamdulillah, we're doing fine here in America.
So, Sheikh, which part of America are you from?
We're on the East Coast here in New York, but
Okay.
particularly in the city of Brooklyn.
MashaAllah.
Can I ask one question,
Yeah.
brother? Now that you mentioned New York, you know, it's been in the news here in the UK that it's got the highest numbers of coronavirus deaths there. And I also hear that within these numbers, there are a lot of people who are from the, you know, from the minority background. Could be African Americans, could be Asians, and, you know, others. Tell us the situation on the ground as you see it.
Yes, you're correct in that news that has been spreading and been circulating, that New York City has become the center of this pandemic, and particularly people of color, Black and Hispanics, Black and Hispanic Americans are dying at a rate that is 20% higher than what's normal. I'm not a doctor, so I can't answer as to why that's happening, why they're having a higher rate of death. But one of the things that we do know from history in this country is that the minority community does not receive the same attention as their white counterparts when they go to the hospital. So it is possible that, you know, white Americans are given a little bit more attention, unfortunately, than their Black and Hispanic counterparts.
So, Sheikh, tell us a bit about your life in America in general. How was it before the pandemic, and how is it now?
So before the pandemic, you know, alhamdulillah, the Muslim community in America has been growing exponentially. Islam is the fastest growing religion here in the States. And you could find many lectures and different events happening every single week, not only on the weekends, but even during the week if you were so interested. But as a result of this pandemic, this COVID virus, you find that all of our masajids have closed. And so at first, the Muslim community was really disappointed and really sad, and, you know, wanted to press on, and somehow maybe if we move the people 10 feet apart or 20 feet apart, we can keep the masjid open. But obviously that's out of their love and desire for the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But since it has become a reality that these houses of worship, not only the masjid, but every synagogue and other houses of worship must be closed, we find that the Muslim community, mashallah, Allahu Akbar, they have been excellent. They have taken to Facebook and to PayPal and to Instagram and been hosting talkathons, trying to raise money for their local communities. Many of these masajids, they are struggling when things are normal. Now that no one is going to the masjid and they are not able to collect funds as they used to, these masajids are struggling. And there's a real threat and jeopardy that after this is over, many of them will have to close. But alhamdulillah, the Muslim community, they're raising money unbelievably. In every single platform, you find that they are calling on the people to give. But not only that, I am so impressed with our businesses, the Muslim businesses, from restaurants and different venues that are getting together and donating food for our essential workers, for our nurses, our doctors, the sanitation, our electrical workers, everyone who's having to go out there and be exposed to this virus. You found the Muslim community donating food every single day to police stations and fire departments. And it only brings to mind the statement of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Anfiq yabna Adam, unfiq alayk." Spend, O children of Adam, and certainly I will spend on you. So all of this that we are raising and we are giving at a time when many people have lost their jobs, it's not in vain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely give it back to us in hasanat as well as in wealth.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless you and your community in Brooklyn and all over in the States. Sheikh, what advice would you give to the Muslims, especially in the States, or even to our viewers around the world who have lost their jobs? What advice would you give them?
Well, the loss of jobs is as a result of this, coronavirus, this COVID virus. And not only in our personal wealth has we've been affected spiritually as well, because there are so many who are looking to the month of Ramadan as a month to reset. And they believe and they feel that this coronavirus, this COVID-19 virus came and interrupted things, or came and ruined our Ramadan and ruined our, economic well-being. But we should keep in mind that from last year's Ramadan, during the last 10 nights, when we were all seeking Laylatul Qadr, on that night, as we know and as we have learned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been decreed from last year's Ramadan that it would arrive now in this time and in this season. So we shouldn't look at it as such that it ruined our plans or ruined what Islam was intending to do and intending to celebrate. We should look at it as something in which there must be benefit in it. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Baqarah, ayah 216, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And perhaps you hate a thing, but in it is good. What good can come from it? I've lost my job. What good can come from it? I am away from the masjid. From among the many benefits of being under quarantine, the number one and number two benefits is the free time that we have and the rest that we have. What do I mean by free time and rest? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in a hadith narrated on the authority of Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu, in which he stated, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ, that there are two blessings, two favors that most of the people are negligent of. They don't understand its reward. They don't understand its benefit until it is gone. What are they? الصحة والفراغ, free time and good health. We have a time and an opportunity under this quarantine to rest. So many of us are overworked. So many of us are stressed mentally. We enter into the month of Ramadan exhausted, and it is only during the last week of Ramadan do we finally appreciate what the month has to offer. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a rest so that we may enter into this month with the energy that is needed and required to perform the ibadat. And definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide for those who have lost their jobs. Maybe it is Allah's plan that Allah first spiritually purifies each and every one of us and increases our iman and our taqwa, and then after Ramadan has been completed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide for us.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sheikh, we've got about 2.5 minutes till the end of this segment. What final words
we need to examine our relationship in our household and with the people in our household. One of the tabi'een came to our mother Aisha radiallahu anha and asked her a very important question. He said, what was the Prophet like inside of his home? What was he like when he would enter his house? Our mother Aisha radiallahu anha said, كان يكون في مهنة أهله, that he used to be occupied with his family. He used to busy himself serving his family. So many of us may think that we are good to our family members because we do not ask them of anything. We are not bothersome to them. But what's more important, the way that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw his relationship when it came to the members of his household was examining his relationship with each and every relative and finding out how better he could serve them. So my advice for the ummah, since we are under quarantine, examine your relationship with your spouse, examine your relationship with your children, and if you have your parents with you, then may Allah bless you. Examine your relationship with them as well. Serve them. Take this time to help them. Take this time to assist. Take this time to advise. Take advantage of this time, because this is something that only happens once in a lifetime, and we are living in that lifetime. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us greater insight and to help us to make the most of this opportunity that He has placed in front of us in the form of quarantine, also known as free time and lockdown.
Jazakallah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. May Allah bless you and your family and the community around you, inshallah. We hopefully will spend Ramadan Mubarak in advance, inshallah. Take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallahu feek.
That was Sheikh Dr. Hassan Akbar, all the way from America, Brooklyn, New York. Inshallah, we are still going to be joined by a police officer, and we still have our certified chartered accountant with us to the end of the show, inshallah. So I would like to remind the viewers at home, we're watching this live on Iman channel, Iqra TV and Twitter TV. If you wish to call in and ask our certified chartered accountant some questions, inshallah, you can call on the number. We'll see you after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يتدبرون القرآن.
One day the Prophet ﷺ came out to the companions radiallahu anhum, and he said to them, don't you bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one worthy of worship and He has no partners? Don't you bear witness that I am the messenger of Allah? Don't you bear witness that the Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So the companions radiallahu anhum, they said, yes, O Prophet of Allah. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَأَبْشِرُوا, have the glad tidings, the great news as a result of this. Because the Quran has two ends to it. One end with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and one end in your hands. Then he said to them, alayhi salatu wassalam, فَتَمَسَّكُوا بِهِ, hold fast to it, because you would never be led astray and you would never be perished if you're holding fast to the Book of Allah. Because of that, join us every week in Quran in Depth, where we recite and reflect and ponder over the verses of the Quran. We go in depth into the verses, following the ways of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions radiallahu anhum, when they used to take the verses, one set of verses after another. They would recite it, they would reflect upon the meanings of it, and they would act according to it, and then they would go to the next set of verses. Join us every week in Quran in Depth, so that we would recite and reflect and learn more about the Book of Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our life and to make us among those who follow the Quran and the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Just want to ask the full name of the accountant and where he practiced. Okay.
So his name is Tahir Beg, that's spelled T-A-H-I-R-B-E-G-G, and he has his own account. He's the director of his accountancy firm, which is in South London, called Beg, Williamson and Co. I believe it's in Crystal Palace.
Yes, but Umar, I'm not looking for any new clients. I've got enough clients. I've got a portfolio of clients that I manage, and that's more than enough for me.
MashaAllah. To inform the viewers, Tahir Beg has voluntarily come out, MashaAllah, to help the community with their questions. But if you do still want to reach out to him, you can do so. He is always willing to answer your questions, inshallah. And he also comes onto the show where it's a prime opportunity for you to ask your questions directly to him. And as you have probably been watching with the show, mashallah, he's been taking a number of phone calls. So just pick up the phone call and try reach in and get through to Tahir Beg, inshallah.
Yeah. I just want to ask that Tahir Beg mentioned about the 23rd of April. I didn't get it. Is it for to send a tax return, or is it something to do with the profit?
Yes, brother. I can answer that question. This is for people who are actually very, very late. The last date for submitting the 2018-2019 tax return was actually 31st of January 2020. And some people haven't done it. For those people, they are saying, okay, they have extended the deadline to the 23rd of April, so it is in a couple of days' time. If you have been submitting your tax returns on time, you don't need to worry. The next tax return, which is 19/19/2020, you can submit it any time. You've got plenty of time for that. No need to worry about that. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I just want to ask that if we want to make our rental income to be regularized as an income, so what's the procedure for that? Do we need to have an accountant for that? Or?
No, you don't need to have an accountant, but it's always good to have an accountant. That's what I would say, and that's what you expect me to say. But yes, you should regularize it. Inform the Inland Revenue before they catch you, because if they catch you, there'll be heavy penalties. But if you actually inform them, you can just write them a note, you can send them a letter and say you've got rental income which you need to declare. Please send me a tax return, and you can file it that way. It's always advisable, I would say, it's always advisable to have an accountant, because there are technicalities which ordinary people generally are not aware of.
Okay, and generally an accountant can easily deal with this one, because I live in East London, and it is very easy for an accountant to deal with? Or?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's a routine work for them. They can deal with it, yes.
Okay, and it is called declared income, which is called rental income.
That's right. It's called rental income. If you're letting a flat, if you're renting a property, that's called rental income. Technical term is Schedule A. Schedule A is rental income. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much for your help, yeah?
You're welcome.
No problem, inshallah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jazakallah khair for your phone call. I believe we have another caller on the line. Let's take that call. Assalamu alaikum caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your question?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Aleem. I'm from West Yorkshire.
And welcome to the show, Brother Ali. What is your question today?
So my question is basically, so I've had a business. I'm a self-employed. I'm a sole trader, and I had a business for the past year and a half, a convenience store. And basically, throughout the past year and a half, I've been very, very struggling, and so much so that I borrowed my money from my family and friends, and even I haven't even had money to pay my own wages into my own account. But alhamdulillah, because of the coronavirus, the council gave me £10,000. And basically, for me, it's a lot of money, and I want to do some good with it, because, of course, it's a test from Allah as well. And as Beg said, the accountant, he said that in the hadith of Rasulullah, the giver, the hand that is above, is better than the hand below. So I want to give to charity and do good things with that money. I just want to know, in terms of the law and stuff, could I donate from my business account? Because I have a business account and a personal account. In my personal account, I don't really use. I have no money in it. In my business account, I have mashallah, now I've got £10,000 in it, and I want to give to charity, and I also want to help my family and friends that helped me out in the past year, because my family are struggling
Okay, brother. So just to clarify, you have been a sole trader for a year and a half?
Yes, I have been a sole trader for 3.5 years.
Okay. May Allah reward you for your good intentions, and may Allah make your affairs easy for you, first and foremost. And I'll pass the question over now to Tahir Beg.
Okay, Brother Ali, for you, what you're saying is that you have been self-employed for about a year and a half. I hope you have submitted your accounts. If you have made some profits, you might find that apart from the 10,000, this 10,000 which you have got is actually from the council, and is to do with the rates. That 10,000, by the way, is taxable. So don't spend all of it. You might find that if you're going to make profits, this will be considered to be part of your income. So it's taxable income. To answer your question, yes, you can by all means give some of it to charities. You can do that. It's your money. You are the man who's going to finance, look after the financing of your business. And if you feel that there is enough room there, of course, zakat is an obligation. So you work out what your zakat is. It's 2.5% of your net wealth. If you want to give more, yes, by all means, do so. If you give it through your business, that is fine. If you give it yourself, that's fine. And if you are a taxpayer, make sure that you sign the gift aid declaration. So whichever charity that you are giving to are able to claim the tax as well. So instead of becoming £100, it becomes actually £125 if you are basic rate taxpayer. I hope that answers your question.
And I just want to know if I can, am I allowed to transfer any money to my personal account or to my family, like family or friend's personal account, like my brother who's struggling and he's helped me in the past? Am I allowed to transfer from my business?
Well, first of all, let me answer that question. The money which was given to you by the council in the form of the rates grant is for the business. It goes into your business bank account. Whatever you want to do with that money is your responsibility, right? So you can give it to whomever you want to. The government doesn't put any restrictions on that this £10,000, you can't spend it on yourself or your family. You can do whatever you think is wise enough for you to do. I mean, there's no ruling that you can't spend it on yourself or you can't give it to anybody else. Okay?
Okay. Inshallah, that's very good. That answers my question. I was just worried in case I transfer it to my personal account and then I have to they might freeze my account because, there's too much money in the personal account or something.
Okay, brother, no problem. But just as a matter of interest, just to tell you, when you are running a business, if the HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, if they carry out an investigation, they can look into all the bank accounts that you control, whether it's your personal bank account or you've got a joint account with your wife or any other account for that matter. So bear that in mind. But the money would have gone into the business bank account, and from there you can give the money to anyone you like. There's no restriction on that.
Jazakallah khair for your call today, Brother Ali. I would like to remind the viewers at home, feel free to join in with the discussion or call in with your questions to our certified chartered accountant Tahir Beg. Right now we have another call on the line. Assalamu alaikum caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your question?
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah, brother. How are you, alright?
Alhamdulillah, I'm great. What about yourself?
Alhamdulillah, all good, brother. Not bad, brother.
What's your question, brother, today?
My question is basically, the government has granted everyone to get the grant for the businesses.
Yeah?
Yeah? So basically, I was in a smaller property last year, so I just moved to a bigger property on the 1st of February this year, and I left the old property on the 31st of January this year, and my grant has arrived to my old property where I don't have access to that property, and I asked the landlord of that property if I had any council letter or anything. He refused, and I called the council and they said, yeah, we've already finished your grant. But I said to them, I'm no longer at that property, I'm at this property, and I did register that I'd moved property, but I told them that I was already registered in the council, but I told them that I moved property on the 30th, about 28th of March. I told them that I moved. meaning council said I might not be eligible to get my grant. That was kind of stressing me out because obviously I have to still pay the landlord and stuff.
So just to clarify, brother, you moved properties after the 1st of Feb, and the council actually gave you a grant, and that grant was sent to the old address, and now you've contacted the council, and the council are saying that they can't do anything about it, and you haven't got access in your previous for your previous property. Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So
I think Umar, I get the gist of his question. You have moved from that property. That means you're not using that property any longer for business purposes. Am I right? Well, Umar, the fact of the matter is, you actually, the property should have been in your name. You are running the business from that property. If you are not running the business...
I'm still running business. Basically, I've done a swap over from an old shop to a new shop. So basically, I'm on the same road, I'm on the same trade. I've just moved to a larger store, so the old store was kind of small for me, so I moved to a bigger store. And once I moved in, I was like an overnight transfer. So, but I obviously signed the lease that I was going to trade on the 1st of February at the new property, and I stopped trading at the old property at the 31st of January. Does that make sense?
I didn't really get that question at all.
Okay, basically, I was in a smaller shop, yeah?
Yes.
My old shop is 308, okay, let's say, yeah? And I've moved from there to number 400, sorry, yeah?
Okay.
So, I moved over a night, but I obviously signed that I start trading in the new shop. I'm still trading, like, obviously the shop's closed at the moment.
Sorry, brother, can I just, apologies for interrupting you, brother. We're about to go for a break, inshallah. So, if you could just stay on the line, we will take your call after the break, inshallah. So don't go anywhere, please. I would like to remind all the viewers at home, we will be resuming after the break, inshallah. We still have our certified chartered accountant with us, Tahir Beg, who is a specialist in taxation, small businesses and self-employment. And we also have a police officer joining us, inshallah. So join us after the break. We will see you then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
The Prophet ﷺ says, each and every one of us is a shepherd, and each shepherd is responsible for his flock.
There's nothing more beautiful, more pleasing, more pleasure-inducing to a parent than to see their children being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
As parents, we are responsible for our children. We're responsible to upbring them to be righteous, practicing Muslims. We're responsible to make them positive elements of our community.
There's nothing more beautiful than for a parent to see their sons and their daughters being obedient to Allah and following in the footsteps of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. With every great amana comes great responsibility.
In order to know how to do this, in order to gain knowledge of how to be successful in aligning our upbringing to the Quran and the Sunnah,
join us on this episode, on these segments of Life's Adornments. Myself, Yusuf Kroma, and Sheikh Asim Luqman al-Hakim, we will take you on a journey, on a lesson-filled enlightenment where we will discuss these crucial matters. We look forward to having you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Coronavirus, a Global Pandemic. Alhamdulillah, we've had a range of panelists today with us. We've had Sheikh Dr. Hassan Akbar all the way from America, Brooklyn, New York, and we still have with us our certified chartered accountant, Tahir Beg, who has been taking your calls. He is a specialist in taxation, self-employment, and small businesses. We are still yet to be joined by a police officer, inshallah. Just before we get to there, let's take our caller who we had before the break. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Wa alaikum salam.
Apologies for the interruption early on.
No, absolutely fine.
So just to clarify again, from what we understood with your question, is that you had a smaller premise which the business grant was sent to, and now you've moved to a larger premise. You don't actually have, after the 1st of Feb, you don't actually have access to your previous premise. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so your question is now, because the grant has been sent there, what can you do about it?
Yeah, so basically I have sent a letter to the council before. I've sent a letter on the 28th of March, my tenancy agreement for my new shop where I moved to, and I told them I have taken over this shop. I am responsible for all the bills and everything of this shop. Can you send my new council tax bill to this shop, please? They said that's fine. We'll put everything on hold for the other one, and we'll send it all over to this one. And then 2 days later, I phoned the guy, I've received a letter saying that I received the grant in the old shop, the old barber shop, and I moved to the new barber shop, obviously. And the guy's telling me that I might not be eligible to get my grant anymore because I moved shops. I'm like, yeah, but the old shop rateable value was lower than the new shop. The new shop rateable value is more, so I'm eligible to get more grant in the new shop. And then the guy at the council is telling me that I might not get nothing.
Okay, let's pass that question to Tahir now.
Yes, brother, first of all, the thing is, when you say they have already sent the grant, well, that's not the case. They have sent the application form. The application form has to be filled in. Now, on the application form, they ask you your name, your trading name, your business address, and the rates reference number. So obviously, nobody is going to get that grant because you are no longer in that shop. It will be on somebody else's. Yeah, if it is, they are the ones who will qualify for that. So, you know, the advice which you have received from the council is absolutely right.
Okay, so, but, you know, that's fine, but why would I not be receiving any grant for my new shop? Because I moved there 1st of February.
1st of February, I don't know what is the date for the rates, from what date they are applicable. So you have to speak to the council to find out if you qualify for that or not.
Yeah, but before, when I did speak to the council before, like a few weeks ago, I spoke to one chap in the council. He said, yes, we're going to send you the new council tax bill to your new shop. We'll have registered you in your new store, so you should be receiving the grant for the store you have.
So to answer your question, the shop that you have moved to, it's already been registered in your name.
Yes.
So you will get the paperwork. Once you get the paperwork, then you have to fill it in and apply. And if you qualify, then you'll be entitled to the grant if you qualify.
Sometimes.
Sorry, what is the rateable value of the new shop that you have moved to?
22,000.
So yeah, so it falls within that category between 15,000 and 51,000. Yes, you should. The council. You need to approach them. Some people, they have not sent the forms yet. I know that. You need to approach them. They will ask you your mobile number and your email address. They will send you the relevant forms there, which you will need to fill in. It's not your landlord, it is you. As long as the shop is in your name, you are the one who is registered, then you need to apply, and they will, if you qualify, then they will send you the rebate or the grant.
I hope that answers
I hope that answers the question. Jazakallah.
Yeah. And also, I believe, because obviously the coronavirus, there's a pandemic going on, sometimes letters are delayed, sometimes emails are delayed. You can imagine the councils are also struggling. So maybe have a little patience, inshallah. And inshallah, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make your affairs easy for you. We have our next guest who is ready. Before we go to our next guest, I would like to remind the viewers at home, feel free to call in. You can call in with the discussion, or you can call in with your questions, inshallah. Our next guest is the police officer. It is Officer Taha. I would like to welcome him. Assalamu alaikum, officer.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, we're good as well. So, it's the first time we've had someone from the police on our show. How's it been since the pandemic has started?
A lot have changed in terms of actual, for example, theft and other high volume crime that we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of a decrease on it. I think that's mainly because all shops are closed. But we are seeing a bit of an increase in terms of domestic incidences and health and safety, for example, closed behind closed doors calls that we're getting a lot more of.
And what is the if now obviously everyone is staying at home now, and I believe robberies within the house are probably less likely to happen because there's people at home or neighbours at home. What sort of common crimes are now happening?
It's a lot of domestic issues because everyone's at home, everyone's together. So usually when people are at home and there's usually a bit of tension, usually you'd be allowed to go outside, or people have their routines to cope with stress and so on. But now, because everyone's inside their homes and everyone's together, tensions run high, so we get a lot of domestic calls. But we also get a lot of closed behind closed doors. That basically means somebody calls 999 for a medical issue, but they can no longer be reached. We would also attend with NHS. It's whoever gets there first, and we would obviously go into the house and try and conduct CPR or whatever is needed to make sure the person's okay. So those two are the kind of calls that we're getting a lot more of.
Umar, you know, Taha, brother Taha, if they stopped the off licenses, closed the off licenses in and stopped selling booze, you might find that this domestic violence actually goes down.
Alcohol is a big factor, but in this country it's still legal, so it's not much I can say or do about that.
I think you should suggest to your MP that they need to address this. I mean, I've been thinking about this myself. This domestic violence, I've been hearing a lot. A lot of it is to do with, as you said, to do with alcohol abuse.
I didn't say it was to do with that, but like
I said it.
Yeah, but like I said, with I don't generally have the big picture figures. I only deal with what I deal with. I'm only a first responder, so I only deal with the incidents that I attend. Obviously, I don't deal with any political issues. I cannot mention anything about that, but obviously everyone is free to make a petition to their MPs and to go forward with that.
So, Officer Taha, you also have some perks with your jobs, especially when the weather is sunny and we've got this lockdown going on. You get to visit the park a lot more often. Obviously, it's probably quite nice to take a stroll in the park. But what's the situation in the parks? Are you finding groups still gathering? Do you have to break people up? If you do have to break people up, what's their reaction?
You know what? If I'm completely honest, nobody's really joined the police to give people fines or to tell people to go home. But people tend to go out a lot more often when the sun is out. When it's raining, it's completely fine, and people are usually being really, really good in terms of staying at home. But obviously, we just try and reinforce it. If we see groups of people just sitting down and not exercising, not walking or anything like that, obviously we'd have a conversation and just ask them to go home, just to make things easier and just keep everyone safe. People usually are engaging with us. Obviously, they know what's going on, so we just literally just have a conversation. It's just about informing people sometimes, or just reiterating the fact that any little thing that you can do will help a lot of people. So in terms of the whole perks and going out, I don't tend to go out at all unless I have to. I'm either at work or I'm at home. Luckily, I'm lucky enough to have a very small garden, so I exercise at home just to obviously just stay at home, because I'm out anyway, meeting the public and stuff on my day job, so I just try and not go out as much.
So just before, we've only got a few minutes left to the end of the segment. If you had to give some final words of advice to our viewers, what advice would you give them?
I know it's been said a lot, but just two things. One is stay at home, and two, just keep in contact with the people that are around you. Because when people are at home, one of the biggest issues is isolation. People tend to isolate themselves and just close off. And even though you're with family or you're with friends and so on, or the people that you live with, it's just nice to have a change of scenery, a change of mind. So it's just nice to talk to people, or even if it's a Skype session, just so you don't feel like you're just isolated. Just keep in contact with people, obviously safely. And that's the best advice I can give, really.
Officer Taha, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Can I say one thing to Taha? Taha, you and your team and your colleagues, you're doing a wonderful job, and really, most of us really appreciate the work, the hard work that you have to do. Keep it up.
Thank you very much, but obviously the NHS are working a lot harder than us. We just try and do our bit.
Thank you for your help, and thank you for your time today on the show. Hopefully we'll speak to you soon, inshallah. Take care.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
That was Officer Taha in the police force, who was providing some general advice. So we've got about 2 minutes till the end of this show, and unfortunately for all the viewers at home, I'd just like to inform them that because Ramadan is literally knocking on our door, unfortunately this is the last coronavirus show that we have. So if you were to give some advice in just 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's been I know it's a stressful time for a lot of people because of really from the financial point of view. But you know, the government has come up with these schemes. Whether you are a furlonged employee, well, 80% is better than nothing. Look at it in a positive light. As far as businesses are concerned, yes, there are rates, grants that are available. And at the same time, what I said earlier is perhaps later on we'll do some other programs whereby we will encourage you to stand on your own 2 feet, that effectively become self-employed. You know, Ramadan is coming up. Yes, we have to recharge our batteries, but after Ramadan, if there is still a period where there's a lock-up period, people need to start doing something, whether they run their own businesses from home on a part-time basis. You know, I'm one of those who want to encourage our community members to stand on their own 2 feet. And where I can help, I'll be more than willing to do so. All I would say is please remember me in your du'as and have a good Ramadan. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. I would like to personally thank you for your time and effort. And I'm sure all our viewers at home have appreciated your great advice. So may Allah reward you and bless you for the work that you've done. And in advance, we would like to say Ramadan Mubarak to you as well. And inshallah, maybe in the future, we will have you again as an advisor on one of our shows. And
inshallah,
I would like to also ask the viewers, alhamdulillah, since this show began, we've had a number of guests who have been giving us great advice in terms of how to be dealing with this pandemic. We've had mashayikh from different backgrounds. We've had the likes of Mufti Menk, we've had the likes of Sheikh Hassan today, we've had the likes of Sheikh Dawood Butt, all giving advice on how we should spend our time best. And we've had advice from the NHS workers, the doctors, the paramedics, informing us to stay at home, save lives, and to stay safe. Unfortunately, this is the last show for the coronavirus. I wish you all a Ramadan Mubarak in advance. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allow us to see Ramadan, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allow us to reap the benefits of Ramadan. Please make the most of your time. Remember us in your du'as, inshallah. You are also in our du'as. Until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.